Welcome to Spintown, everyone. I'm here on the Overcast Network, and I'm playing maps made by Reshif today because I've recently started playing a little bit more Capture the Wool in the past than I have previously, and I've really kind of gotten into his maps, Golden Drought. Now, he's done a whole series of them, and I want to thank you for being here, Reshif.
Thanks for asking me.
How did you find the Overcast Network?
Oh, okay. So I don't know how long you want me to go with this, but it's an interesting story. I was a part of community days before Overcast was even like a name or a thing.
Okay.
And it was hosted by a streamer known as Dutroid. And basically, they were a streamer. They did some random games. They had like a small community of like 50 concurrent viewers, basically. And one day, she made a map called Airship Battles, and she got all the people in the stream to hop into a mumble room, and we'd all join the green room, and from there, she would drag one of us each to like the red and blue team channels until there were even teams. From there, we would walk out of spawn, out into the airships, through the spawn tunnels. That's actually why spawn tunnels are a thing. They used to be controlled by redstone, and you actually walked out from the spawn onto your corresponding team's tunnel.
Okay, so I did not know that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. And then from there, community days kind of grew. One day, Tornaries and Bing Bang Brother, also known as Gamma Ray, and Thungon made Fortress Battles, and that was a big thing. And community submissions kind of opened up. Cake Wars was the third map, and Sky Traffic ended up being the fourth. And then a bunch of stuff happened from there. Basically, like 2 months into this, I think like early 2012, like February around, Monsieur Apple ended up seeing a stream, and him and Steve Anxious, or Anxu is, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it still.
Mm-hmm.
They owned a creative server known as Serenity at the time that they had done some pretty cool custom plugins for, and they saw a lot of potential in what was happening with community days, and other streamers were getting involved, namely Cilantro Gamer was coming in for a few of them. So they coded PGM, which is a PvP game manager, is what that stands for. And after community days, like directly after, which were on every Sunday, I'm pretty sure, they would do some public testing of PGM, which would automate the matches. And from there, Monster Apple's stream actually became like its own thing, where people would come and watch for PGM testing. And eventually, it actually launched as like a website and a 24/7 thing known as Project Ares. Then like 6 or 7 months later, it became the Overcast Network. And I think that was with the release of Ghost Squadron. That might have been much more than 6 months later, but for a while, the website was just Project Ares. But
okay.
Yeah.
So I came around after all that. I came around when it was definitely OCN.
Most people have.
Yeah.
Most people came around for the OG people are basically, I'm one of 3 people that came from community days, me, Torn Aries, and Gamma Ray. Minimal Cow, Moose, and Nuclear Zebra were around back then, but they are basically gone at this point. A lot of the more OG people came around from Cilantro streams. And then the big influx was from In the Little Woods stuff.
All right, so we know how you found Overcast and became a part of its community. How did you get into the map making part of it?
Well, I was always sort of a map maker. It started back in like 2011. I always jumped straight to the level editor whenever I like started up a game. Like it could be anything. Like when I was 11 or 12, I was making like really bad maps in like the Halo series on my stupid console that I still have sitting around. Mm-hmm. So I jumped into Minecraft, and there was this huge custom map making scene, and that was really exciting. So I made some really bad adventure maps that I will not name and will never be released to the public again. And those kind of were not good. And then one day I made a map known as Solar Survival, and that was I think it was like summer 2011, might have been like June or July, and that basically fucking exploded overnight. Like I went to sleep one night and woke up, and that hit 20,000 downloads. And that was because a YouTuber by the name of Pyro Puncher, who was a part of Minecraft. I don't know if they are still, It's kind of died down recently, but they did a series on it, and that was really successful. And that map itself ended up hitting like 300,000 downloads, and that was what basically hooked me on Minecraft as like a platform.
When they featured your
when that map ended up being very successful. From there, I tried my hand at a few more like single player CTM maps, but they ended up being like larger projects that I wasn't able to commit to. If you look back at Soldier Survival, it really is like very small and sloppy, and went through like a few updates, but there's not much to it. From there, from Soldier Survival, I was a big fan of Super Hostile and Vex series. That he kind of just stopped to be a YouTuber instead because there's more money there. And I had this idea, and it was a revolutionary idea because Race for Wool was a thing at the time, and there were a lot of like Race for Wool teams, and that was the go-to platform at the time, right?
Yeah.
And I had this idea where instead of having 2 lanes, you had 1 lane, and the wool room that you had to get to was actually just at the other team's base, and the defense and like the mobs and stuff, those were just the other players. And so I talked to Vex about it, about this new concept that was based off of Race for Wool, and I called it Capture the Wool. And he said, "Go ahead, it's not copying, it's fine." And I still have the PM logs from like Planet Minecraft. I think it was the Minecraft forums. But I still have those around, and that's how I made my first CTW map in like 2011, the fall.
So you basically helped create the whole game mode?
I could claim that I invented CTW, but I can't claim that I invented the concept of capturing a flag, which is just a thing in many games. That like I can't claim that anybody copied my idea. I can say I came up with the name CTW and made a CTW map for anyone else, but I can't claim that anyone who made a CTW map after that was inspired by me, because it's just such a straightforward concept.
Yeah.
But yeah, I made like 4 CTW maps that were made for like vanilla server usage, and they were all terrible. And that was before I found Community Days and made Sky Traffic.
Wow, I had no idea that you went that far back as far as map making, and that's pretty cool. Now, Golden Drought is like something I recently got into. It's been around for quite a while, though.
Yes, quite a while.
And I still haven't managed to get a damn wool on your maps. I have tried, but I still get a kick out of defending on your maps. It's kind of like a lily pad style islands, the way they're set up. And I like to go on there and just base and defend a lot of times. And I don't know if that's really productive for my team, but it's fun.
I mean, my goal when I made the original Golden Drought, basically, was I took Race for Victory 2, which was the best map at the time, and I said, how can I make something that's like this, but unique and good? So I took it, and I did at the time, I was the only one who was doing, quote, what I like to call dynamic front lines, where there's a bunch of islands.
Yeah.
Before that, there was Cake Wars, Fortress Battles, and Airship Battles, and those were there was one void gap. And Sky Traffic had all these airships around, and the front lines were completely changing, and you could push up, and you wouldn't be at the core, and that was kind of new. So I took that concept and put it in a CTW map. Then I messed with how I wanted the defense to work, and I made it so instead of having a pre-made defense, there were set choke points that were only as powerful as the person defending them, which was one of my big ideas with Golden Drought at the time, and made that into a map. And then Golden Drought 1 was a thing, and it ended up doing really well.
You know, and see, another reason I like doing these interviews is because there's so many maps on Overcast, and so many people have submitted maps that aren't used on Overcast now, that a lot of them do become kind of cookie cutter maps.
Oh yeah.
And I would have never known some of these things that you kind of were like the first one to do with your maps. I would have just assumed, oh, Golden Drought, you know, has some similar things from this map or this map, but like you came up with some of this stuff for the first time yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely kind of cool. Are there any like secrets or special strategies on any of the 4 Golden Droughts that maybe I wouldn't know about?
I'd like to pretend that it's 3 and that 2 never happens. So
okay.
Any secrets?
Yes, and
In terms of like,
if it's a really good secret, I just want you to like message me on Twitter what it is, or not, or Skype, because I need help. A lot of help. I can't.
just defend. Honestly, like defending on Golden Drought is so strong on Golden Drought 1.
Yeah.
On 4, it's kind of really hard to do alone because you need backup to effectively do it. It's too easy just to get 3v1s at the backline defense. In front line, you can't build one on your own. And then on 3, depends, honestly. Playing offense is good if you're good at offense. Defense can be really good. You just have to have a team that's decent at holding front lines, honestly.
So you're basically saying there's no chest anywhere with hidden diamond boots
Oh,
that have
no.
feather falling tin that I could just start using?
No.
Damn. Because I don't see myself getting a wool. I'm just horrible at those maps, or capture the wool in general. But I will keep trying. Damn it. What was the inspiration behind? I mean, you've already touched on this. The Golden Drought series. Like, I mean, you talked about the first one, but after that, the follow-ups. What were the inspirations behind those two?
I don't necessarily choose a theme or a palette until it's finished. My thought for Golden Drought, the reason it's sandstone is because I wanted it to be easily mined.
Okay.
With a pickaxe, so you can make pits faster, and the best block for that was sandstone.
Yep.
And for gold, I thought that the differential between iron and no armor was too large on Race for Victory 2, and so I used gold instead.
All right, that makes sense. Now, you're credited solely for the Golden Drought maps. You've collaborated with other people on other maps, which we can get into later.
Yeah.
But you're credited solely for these. Does that mean you had 100% control over everything, no input from anybody else, or did you have people giving you feedback along the way and helping you out?
I mean, on the first one, I asked around to the map makers at a time, like Hobo, who is a legend, but that's another story. But no, usually it was just me making it on a single player server.
Do you prefer to work solo, or do you enjoy doing collaborative map?
Depends. If it's for a pub map that doesn't need to have a high level of quality, like for tournaments, then it's probably easier just to do it alone instead of wait around for someone. But if I'm doing a tournament map, I need to get more heads than just myself.
What game mode do you like designing for the most?
5CP has been incredibly fun to make maps for.
Is there a reason for that? I mean, just
there's
something
just
special about that game mode that you like?
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for as a level designer to be creative with the pathing and objectives. And there's not a whole lot of potential for people to just ruin your map for reasons that are kind of dumb, like minecarts or Icaruses. Those are, I mean, they're fun, but recently they have become kind of the bane of my existence as a map maker.
Kind of like people who don't like watering?
Yeah, I haven't touched DTC in 2 years, and that's most of the reason why. People are just too good at breaking mechanics nowadays.
Mm. Do you design more for the hardcore or the casual player, or do you kind of try to keep both in mind?
I've been doing tournament maps exclusively for 2 or 3 years.
So definitely the competitive side then.
Yeah.
I ask everybody this, and they all say the same thing, but just because there's always one or two people that was like, well, what do you use? What tools do you use when you make your maps?
A single-player bucket server that has World Edit on it. And I haven't used MC Edit in a long time, but along with World Edit, there's this really cool plugin that not a lot of people talk about, but everybody uses called NBT Editor that lets you make custom items and spawners incredibly easily.
Okay.
So if anyone's looking around for something that isn't just World Edit, that is what you're missing. But those two plugins will get you everything you need.
See, I think I use a little bit different tools than most people. For me, I just use Creative, and then I use something called Javier and Jack. Two friends I make do all the complicated shit.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that works too.
What do you think is your biggest weakness as a map maker? Is there a certain area you struggle with?
Oh, I can't do architecture. I make boxes and put designs on them. I've made jokes about this for a long time, but I really cannot make a good-looking house.
Now, you see, I could help you with that if you needed help making giant boxes, because that's kind of build I make all the time. In every server I've been on, as far as creative or survival, I live in a box.
Nice.
Sometimes I switch it up and the box will be above ground. Sometimes it's below ground, but it's a square box.
I mean, it's efficient.
Yeah. What is your favorite map that you've made so far, and the one you're the most proud of?
Most proud of?
Yes.
Huh. I had the most fun playing on Cat's Cradle, surprisingly enough.
Okay.
But most proud I was of making it, and for it being a good map, I'd say Ascendance 2. I had a lot of fun making that. I was really proud of the result.
Yeah, I was looking at the website earlier. I can't remember if I played that one or not. I don't think I have. But
I don't think it's been anywhere outside of tournaments.
Okay, then I definitely haven't. But I was looking at the website and I said that looked kind of interesting. I wish I could question you more about that one, but I know nothing about it. So let's see. Is that going to be in the rotations at all? You think?
I don't know. On ranked, probably, maybe. I don't manage rotations. I haven't ever.
Okay. Well, the opposite end of the spectrum, is there a map that maybe you wish you can go back and make changes to that you're not quite happy with?
Now, it would be really nice if I could go back and make Golden Drought 2. I don't know why I skipped that number, but, that was just the map lost in time. Sometimes I just think, man, 1 to 3 was such a weird jump.
Yeah. Is there a map on the server that you had absolutely nothing to do with that you enjoy, and what is that?
Harb has it. Harb used to be my favorite map, and sometimes still is. It's an old classic, honestly.
Yeah. And one of my friends, Jack, it's a map he really likes playing. It's where I got my first cannon kill. It was a really shit cannon, but it's my first one. Is there a map, and you don't have to answer this one. Some people decline, which is totally fine because you're throwing somebody else under the bus. Is there a map? Oh, okay. Is there a map out there that's been in the rotations that you just absolutely hate? Can't stand?
Avalanche. I always hated Avalanche. It should never have been added to Project Ares. It shouldn't be on Nostalgia. It should never have been put on the server.
Not only were you insanely fast with that response, but you were very emphatic.
Yeah.
So I'm very impressed. I don't think I've played that in a long time, so I couldn't even tell you.
It's a good thing.
Well, I couldn't even tell you if you're right or wrong based on my own opinion, because I don't remember that map. All right, so is there ever been a map that you've made and released to the public that you just completely disagreed with their opinion of it? Like it got horrible reviews or ratings or whatever, but you thought it was like one of the more amazing maps you've ever made, or vice versa, where you didn't like something and it got great reviews.
See, I don't release things I don't like.
Okay.
Usually, at least not ones that I dislike at the time. There was one map I thought was good. That was a Ghost Squadron map that ended up being really bad.
I'm not going to try to hurt your feelings or anybody's
I don't know.
feelings.
I can't think of anything that my opinion disagreed with people.
Okay. I just want to... I'm not trying to be a dick, but I just got to say any Ghost Squadron map is not a good map.
That's fine. That's true.
I like the idea of it, and it was fun for me for about the first 5 or 6 times I played. But that game got so old, and it stayed so empty, you couldn't get a good game a lot of times.
Yep.
The maps, when you first start them, I'm assuming you have a picture of what you want to build sometimes?
Oh, yeah.
Would they usually end up the way you originally imagined, or do they change a lot during the process?
Most of the time. So the way my process is a little different than everybody else's. Because my actual building process is really fast and is just a lot of world edit commands,
Yeah.
I can spend 1 or 2 days, often just 1 day making a map, and the week and a half beforehand sketching it out, thinking of ideas, and just building on that concept before I actually sit down and say, yeah, my concept is refined, I'm ready to just make it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that has to make things a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because I know with me, I'm not a great builder, and I rely on a lot of other people for the world edits, MC edits, anything like that. So my process is extremely slow. I'll build something, then I'll have to get to a stopping point to where I need help, and then I have to wait on people. I'm just too lazy to learn how to use all that stuff. Now, I got some questions here that I don't normally ask, but I'm asking people now in these interviews because with the news of OCN closing, I just wanted to have people have a chance to share some of their favorite memories with OCN. So, you personally, what is one of your favorite memories or favorite things that you've enjoyed about OCN over the years?
Uh, I really do have a thing for the cutthroat competitive scene that everyone really tries their heart out on all the teams to, and it not only does it push everyone else to be better, it pushes the people who make the maps to be better. If you look at the standard for the maps back in like our first 3 tournaments compared to what they need to be now, there's a huge difference. RV2 is considered garbage now. And that's all because of how hard the players have been trying to basically force people to make maps to get better, and that's something I appreciate.
All right, that's a new answer for me, but yeah, I totally see that. What is the singular most memorable moment for you, though, in OCN? I mean, it could be like an epic kill, an awesome objective get that you got, or something totally different.
Yeah, so those like memorable moments don't happen with maps because they get released over the course of like a whole week and then get talked about. But if I had to pick something that is memorable, it would have to be Breaking Core when I was on Vindicate, our match against Starfish, where we stalled out the entire first game on first game on Blocks TTC, which is a terrible map for competitive, by the way. Screw that. 10 block lead distance was awful. And the only reason we didn't lose. But we managed to actually tie that. And then we went to Boom. And the Boom match versus Starfish was so hype. It's probably on video somewhere, but it's worth a watch.
Yeah, this tournament, the really competitive players, their videos are so fun to watch because, it's just a video game for a lot of people. And I've been part of these tournaments in the past, not on Overcast, but on other servers. But you get so into it. Even if it's a game I'm not really all that into, the drama, but you can feel the tension between the teams, even the teammates. You'd be like, "Get over there! I need help over here." I can see why people, because other people have said similar things as far as like their most memorable moments are usually like in matches, like in a tournament or some kind of special event. This interview isn't done yet, guys. If you want to hear more from Reshif, all you gotta do is click this annotation to watch part 2 of my interview. All you gotta do is click it. Move the mouse over top of the blue, press down on the clicker, and you're done. Come on, click it already.